This week, we experienced the terrifying fallout of our new Post-Roe Nightmare world, where a pregnant 10-year-old victim of rape who had to travel to another state for an abortion, and the GOP tells the world, or wants the world to believe, she did not actually exist. Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the DemCast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Aliza Worthington of crooksandliars.com, and Kara Lee is off today. What a week. What is this new reality we are living in, Aliza?
You like my shirt? My sister got it for me.
I love it. I am so old. I remember the day that came down.
Well, I'm old enough to remember 1973, but not in terms of Roe's, the decision. The decision of Roe.
I was in high school, and my favorite teacher told us about the decision, and she was so happy about it. When I look back on my education in LA public schools in the 1960s and 1970s, I understand why the right has been trying to dismantle public education for so long. You know, my teachers were the result of, grew up during the Depression and during World War II and during the Roosevelt years. And the history I learned was that FDR saved us.
Right.
Was that these policies were good.
That a social safety net was something we deserved.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that the Supreme Court was protecting our rights and expanding them. I mean, William O. Douglas was still on the court when I was a kid.
So I remember 1973 only because I remember Watergate.
Yeah. That was the summer before I started high school, before I started college.
I was Watergate 4.
Hearing. The Watergate hearing.
I was young, but I remember the intensity in the House, and I remember the watching of the hearings and the news cycle, and I remember it being talked about in my house. I remember it being a very, very big deal. And I remember when Ford became president. I remember all of that. And but I don't remember. I mean, of course, I was 4. They didn't tell me anything about Roe v. Wade, right? But I guarantee you, I should ask my parents, but I guarantee you that they were thrilled that their daughters, they have 2 daughters, were going to grow up in a world where they didn't have to do what this 10-year-old had to do, which is travel to another state to have her rapist's embryo removed from her body.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Fresca, not beer. Not that anybody cares.
I'm still amazed you can find Fresca.
Love it. Love Fresca.
I know you do. You keep saying that.
Speaking of 1973.
Speaking of 1973. At least it's not Diet Dr. Pepper.
No, you couldn't. You couldn't. You won't. I wouldn't be caught dead drinking Diet Dr. Pepper, or even real Dr. Pepper for that matter. But
going back to 50 years ago. The Watergate break-in itself occurred the year before I started my senior year of high school, and I was going to be in AP English, and one of the assignments for AP English was to subscribe to Newsweek and read it every week during the summer. And Newsweek back then was owned by the Washington Post, and I was weekly getting this information that was coming out.
Was Catherine Graham? Catherine Graham was in charge then, right?
Yeah. So I was reading about it, then. The following summer, before I started college, were the hearings. And, I wanted to watch my soaps, but I had the hearings.
Your stories.
My stories, yes. I had the hearings instead, so I watched them.
Well, hopefully they held your interest.
They did. And I remember my freshman quarter at UCLA one of the first things I did was I went to an impeach Nixon rally. you know, this was in the fall of
Yeah.
73.
Yeah.
And they played the checkers speech, which I had never seen, but had only heard about.
Mm.
And he says, I am not a crook.
Oh, for crying out loud. I have to silence my phone. I apologize. I forgot to do that. I'm a bad podcaster. Hold on. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm wearing this shirt that my sister sent me after Roe fell, and I ran to Target on my lunch hour today, and the old, I don't know, the guy who was at the cashier at the register, was making small talk with me about my shirt. And I'm like, oh, okay, you want to make, I wasn't going to say anything. I don't walk around telling people about my shirt. He's like, oh, that's a cool shirt. And he's like, is that when you were born? And I'm like, no. And he's like, I remember the 70s and I was born in the 60s and blah, blah, blah. And he wants to talk all about, when he was born. And I'm like, does this year mean anything to you? Do you know what this year refers to? And he was like, no, what does it refer to? And I said, it's the year that abortion became legal in the United States and women could have reproductive rights. And he was like, ooh. Have a nice day. And I'm like, thanks. See, you wanted to talk about it. I wasn't going to say anything, but you're going to make small talk with me. I'm going to tell you what this shirt's about.
That's a great shirt.
That's when it's
That's a great
it's
shirt.
when Roe was decided, asshole. Learn a thing, you
Oh,
know?
well, every time there is one of these bills where they are trying to restrict women's reproductive rights, these people get up there and it's obvious that they never paid any attention to health class if they were
You
allowed to
mean
have
women
it.
can't give birth to a turtle?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. This guy was that senator's age, probably. He was
Mhm.
probably in his 60s. And that he was so clueless and out of touch with not only the significance of 1973, but the significance of why I might be what has just happened in the world, that he would be making casual, chatty conversation with me about it. He's clearly not paying attention to what's going on in the country around him, as it has nothing to do with him or his life. What does he care, right? He's an old white guy, right? Well,
Yeah.
he doesn't couldn't give two shits about a woman's reproductive rights,
But
or maybe he does. I mean, I might be assuming.
it is the same people who insist that you can reimplant an ectopic pregnancy, or that a woman isn't in danger of losing her life because of an ectopic pregnancy.
Or that a 10-year-old could grow to appreciate the baby
Mhm.
she's being forced to birth from her rapist.
Oh,
Just talk to other people who were raped who gave birth to their babies. They're happy they were born. No. And let's talk about the fact that they're trying to outlaw interstate travel.
I mean,
How
my
what
God. If normally I
how
would
can that be
laugh those
constitutional?
kinds of I would laugh those kinds of efforts, away. But
We can't.
This Supreme Court has demonstrated that they're making up the law as they go along.
As it suits them and their
Yeah.
agenda and the Federalist Society agenda. If they need to make a decision that amounts to banning interstate
Women,
travel for women who cannot prove that they're not pregnant, they'll do it.
yeah,
And this is for the Constitution be damned.
yeah. We're going to go back to the days when you needed a man to co sign for your banking, you know?
Not that long. 1973. When did that go away? That went away in the 80s, didn't it?
That
Or
went away in the late 70s.
okay.
I was able to open a bank account at my college campus, a student account in 1973.
So
And
that
I
was
don't
okay.
think, and I was living on campus, so I don't
You
think I
didn't.
had a parent to co-sign that.
Okay.
So I was able to do that. But California, even though we were a much more conservative state then, I still think that we were, more looking ahead than the other states.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, Reagan was governor then, but
Yeah, I could look it up, but I don't feel like getting my keyboard out. Um,
no, no.
Connected. But um, yes, so they are there. There were a couple of really unbelievable, appallingly ignorant, insulting moments in Congress this week.
And in the
Um,
states,
hmm?
and in all the states.
In all the states, but I'm
And
talking
in the
about the congressional
Washington
hearings.
Post, you
Where
know,
I'm sorry,
and in the Washington Post.
in the Washington Post. Don't get me started on the Washington
Oh,
Post and the New
I
York
want to get
Times.
you started. I want to get you started because it was bad enough. President Biden mentioned this poor child in a speech last week. And you and I had heard about it. I think we discussed it on last week's podcast.
We did.
It's an appalling, terrible story.
Hmm.
And this poor child is not alone except in that they had to go to another state
Yeah.
to get this done. And if I was that child's mother, I would have done the same thing. I would have stopped at nothing to get my child safe. And,
Right.
and making a 10-year-old, to make a child give birth to a child, after being traumatized, and and as it turns out, she was raped more than once. Um, I just cannot
It's
imagine the pain and the emotional turmoil and what that young person is going to endure the rest of
the
her life.
only thing. It's crimes like those that pull me back from saying jails should be abolished.
Yeah.
I mean, I am in general anti-carceral in my philosophy. I'm against jail for most things, but that, I mean, these people need to be like removed from society,
Yeah.
just removed.
Yeah.
And as far as her mother is concerned, it sounds like it was her boyfriend,
Oh.
and that she is defending him.
Oh no.
She did take her daughter to Indiana to get an abortion. I mean, she saved her to that extent. But I just saw this afternoon that there was some talk about her sort of defending the rapist, which is a completely what the fuck moment. But you're talking about Stockholm syndrome, and you're talking about all kinds of
We're talking about family dysfunction that
to the a little
that is
that's
all too
obvious.
common.
Yeah.
That
So
is
what were you going to say about the Washington Post though? What?
well, you had after Joe Biden talked about this in a speech, about I think it was the speech he made when he signed his executive orders last week.
Yeah.
And that was before he signed more executive orders that would make it clear that even in the states where it has been outlawed, that, where a woman's health is at stake.
Yeah, where her life's in danger.
Right,
Emergency room doctors are
right,
permitted.
right. And that they can get the medications they need.
Yeah.
But it was after that that you started seeing things on the right wing, doubting that this poor child even existed.
That it happened, that they
The
were
Wall
calling it a
Street
hoax. They
Journal,
were doing it on Fox. They were going nuts about it.
right, right, in the Wall Street Journal, they called it a story too terrible to believe.
Well, shit, there's a lot of stories that are too terrible to believe, but they happen.
They do.
That doesn't mean they go away. It's too terrible to believe. So I can't even with that.
And so then Glenn Kessler jumps on it
Hmm.
and complains that there was only one source. And it was the doctor who can't reveal too much about, the medical condition of a patient, let alone a patient that
The
is that young.
identity. Yeah. Yeah.
And as someone else pointed out, journalists do stories all the time about cancer patients, and they don't necessarily try to find the patient to verify what the doctor said.
That's true.
Right. And nobody doubts the doctor talking about their cancer patients.
That's right. It's only because women are Jezebels. And when it involves a woman's reproductive health, and the through line of her having had intercourse against her will or not,
Right.
then that automatically gives anybody absorbing the story the right to question the woman
Mm-hmm.
or child, girl in this case, or person with a uterus who can get fucking pregnant. And, but even I have to say, this infuriated me. Even Rebecca Traister, who's a writer I admired for a very long time, called it and not maybe unsubstantiated or some kind of unconfirmed story.
Mm-hmm.
And she never corrected herself. I called her out at least twice on Twitter saying, when are you going to correct this? When are you going to correct this? How can you call this into question? I've got nothing. And it's still up like that. It's still confirmed. She still has it up there like unconfirmed.
That surprises me.
I'm so disappointed and so disgusted because the whole point of her article was how appallingly bad she thinks Biden's reaction to the fall of Roe was. And her whole point was to bash Biden. And in so doing, she was also, what made me sad about it is she was making a lot of very, very excellent points
Mm-hmm.
about the paternalism and the condescension that surrounds and constrains the discussion of abortion, um, always.
Yeah.
And it's, and there were some just amazingly insightful and really compelling points. And then she, to me, completely undermined it by bashing. It seems to me pointlessly bashing his response and saying that this child's story was unconfirmed and holding up people as great fighters for reproductive rights, holding up people like AOC and Elizabeth Warren as these great warriors for reproductive rights, when I'm sorry, in my mind they've done fuck all for it. And you have people like Lauren Underwood and Kamala Harris who have actually gotten a lot of bills passed that have done amazing things to help
Maternal
help
health.
improve maternal health, maternal mortality, women's
Yeah.
reproductive health, all these tangible important things that they've done. So to me that just like wiped out any credibility she had on this point, which was really sad, because something that I've been saying for a long time surrounding the abortion debate is that the whole exception for the case of the life of the mother or the case of rape and incest is bullshit.
Yeah.
Those exceptions are bullshit because a woman should be just as allowed to have sex free of consequence as a man, and
Mhm.
free of consequence of having a child result from that sex. And yet a woman is the only one whose consequence might end up being becoming pregnant, or people with uteruses, because
Right.
some people with uteruses are men, I have to
Right.
say. And that was another thing, another insulting,
Oh, well.
infuriating, phobic line of questioning that we got from the fucking idiotic Republicans this week. That I have to say, those panelists, those women were amazing shutting them down. But
Mhm.
that, I mean, that's those clips we can throw up on this on the MOMocrats page.
Did
Um,
you see the one? It's a state candidate. It's a candidate for state office in one of those red states who asserted that a woman's uterus has no purpose other than childbirth.
no,
Because
I
it's
didn't
the
see
only
that.
organ, he said it's the only organ in human beings that you don't need to live. You can
What
get
about
along
an appendix?
you can get along just fine without a womb, he said.
Same with an appendix.
Well, he was talking about the womb.
Okay, also one of your
Saying
kidneys, I think, right? Can't you live with only one kidney?
that it is useless. Never mind that, when I think of all the years
Oh my God.
with my uterus, I only had one child, but that uterus was there. And after I no longer needed the uterus, it was still there giving me issues, that I had to
That damn
correct,
uterus.
you know. But then there are those who are trying to define woman as someone with a uterus. And I no longer have one. So what does that make me?
What does it make you?
A
What does it
non-entity.
make you?
I'm a
You're
non-entity.
useless.
I don't have a penis and I don't have a uterus. So I'm
Forget it.
nothing.
What are you
Yeah.
even doing?
Yeah.
What are you even doing, Donna? Besides feeding that cat behind you, what are you
Yeah,
doing?
collecting Social Security, and they'll say I don't need that anymore either.
Yes. I mean, it's maddening, and I'm laughing so that I don't, you
Yeah,
know, throw myself off of a bridge. It's just, I mean, my uterus isn't going to produce any more kids, that's for sure.
but you still have hormones that are coming from your ovaries and your uterus. You still
Yeah.
have processes that are going
Oh, I
on.
gotta look that up. I gotta
A
find
big
that.
part,
I can't
big
believe that
part.
escaped my knowledge this week. I can't believe it.
I'll find that one. I'll find that
Yeah.
one and send it to
All
you.
right. So that you and I have homework. We're gonna find. I have to find those clips because they were amazing, shutting down the transphobia and the ignorance and just,
Yeah,
I mean, the absurdity. But the House today passed two bills that will probably not get passed in the Senate. But
right.
one was codifying Roe and the other was codifying the right to travel between states, which I can't
And
believe
the
we even
Republicans
need.
voted against that.
How do we even need that? How is that not redundant?
Women prisoners in their own states.
And then by the time something like that gets challenged in court, if a state legislature passes that law, how what is a person going to do? What if they have to travel to another state? What if they're going to the Mayo Clinic for essential some other kind of medical treatment?
But
And speaking of that, the fact that there are all these autoimmune patients who cannot get their
yes.
medicine now because it's also in a
Well, they
minuscule
can
way.
if they don't have a uterus.
They can if they don't have a uterus. That's right. All these people with uteruses are not able, or uterusi, I don't know the plural,
Yeah,
uteri, um, can't get, I don't know the name of the medication, but it's something for people with autoimmune disorders, and they can't get this medication because it's known there's a tiny chance they cause miscarriages.
Right.
This medication does.
Right.
And so all of a sudden, pharmacists are terrified to give it out, and doctors are terrified to prescribe it.
Yeah. Doctors are terrified to engage in life-saving surgeries because of uncertainty of their legal liability.
Yeah, if the placenta detaches, if there's uterine bleeding,
Mhm.
I mean, there's all kinds of things besides ectopic pregnancies that could cause,
That's right.
oh, your cat right now.
Go look at Smokey.
Your cat, boy, oh boy.
He doesn't like this discussion.
No, he's mad. I
Yeah,
don't blame him.
him. I'm mad too, Smokey boy.
Oh my God. Ugh, we spent 25 minutes on abortion.
Well, I
Can
have
we
a
talk
feeling.
about can we talk about the hearings? Can we talk about some good things?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Or did we have more to say about the fucking fall of Roe?
Um. No, I have nothing else to say. I took somebody's tweet that was good, but you know
Oh,
what? We said
do it.
it. We
Let's
said
hear
it
it.
in more words.
What was it?
Okay, this was a tweet from Southern Sister Resistor
Uh, love them.
who said Republicans tried to erase a 10-year-old rape victim from existence
Mhm.
because she makes the savagery of their draconian vision for America real. This little girl represents the further devaluation of females, both present and future. Republicans are void of humanity.
They
And
are
that says it all.
completely devoid of humanity. They're monsters. They are monsters. They're corrupt, and all they care about is staying in power.
Which is our segue into the hearing. This week's this
Yeah, good
hearing,
segue. We didn't even
this
plan that.
hearing was another bombshell.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Raskin and Stephanie Murphy
Love them.
were
Love
the
them.
ones
Love you,
who
Jamie Raskin.
led the hearing this week,
Yeah, it's the one I've been waiting for.
and it was the first one where they show the relationship between all the right wing militia groups, the
Yes.
violent right wing groups that
Mm-hmm.
were there fomenting the violence, and the President of the United States,
That's right.
who planned the violence. The violence was a feature, not an accident.
Yep.
And
It was his backup plan.
and Jamie Raskin and Stephanie Murphy did a masterful job. And once again, Liz Cheney is just tying a noose around Trump's neck,
I'm here for it.
laser focused on Trump. And you know what? I'm good with that.
I'm good with it too. I'm good with it too. I wouldn't vote for her if you put a gun to my head, but I'm good with what she's doing on this hearing committee.
She's doing the country a favor.
She is. She's doing her job,
Yep,
which is more than you can say for pretty much any other Republican besides Kinzinger.
right.
Any Republican that tries to do their job gets run out of politics.
Yeah,
There are people who, I can't, of course, think of their names offhand because that's not how my brain works. I hate that about my brain. But who voted for their representatives, Republican representatives who voted for who voted that Trump be impeached. And they were going to run again, planned on running again, and got run out because they got primaried by more Trumpian people, or they couldn't handle the abuse and the threats that they got from the right for daring to go against dear leader. And these two are the loneliest Republicans in Congress. It's just.
And from what one of the live witnesses this week was someone who had been a communications officer for the Oath Keepers.
PR.
And he did PR for the Oath Keepers, and he got out in 2017. But he had some very chilling messages for the rest of the country because this is spreading. And the danger is there. The insurrection is still happening.
Yeah.
And when I get out on Twitter and I look at all the negative messaging that is designed to keep Democratic voters away from the polls,
Yeah.
I just want to scream.
Me too.
Joe Biden is not perfect.
Right.
Joe Biden was not the first choice of either of us.
Nope.
But he was the right choice to beat Trump.
Here's
And
what we got.
he is who we have. And in many ways, he's a very good president for this time. I would like, what I would like to see is a more formal arrangement where you've got a foreign policy president and a domestic policy president,
Mm-hmm.
because I see that split happening with him and the vice president, where he's giving her a lot of the domestic agenda and he is focused on what's happening with Ukraine and keeping NATO together. And I think our presidency is probably too big for one person,
Could be.
for one person and the cabinet. I look at what he is doing with the foreign policy part of it, and I applaud it 100%.
Yeah.
And I see that Vice President Harris is doing a lot on the domestic end. I think
But
that
she's also doing a lot of foreign policy. She's doing
she's
a lot
doing
with.
both. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. I think that Trump left the country in such a terrible shape that he can't clean all of that up in 18 months.
No.
The supply chain issues that are causing inflation are global.
Yeah.
He's getting a lot of flack for meeting with the Saudis today. And he's also getting a lot of flack because of gas prices, which are going down.
30 days in a row. 30 days in a row they've gone
31
down.
days in a row they've gone down.
31. Okay, pardon, I
I mean,
stand corrected.
and they're still historically high, but it's going down. And as we said last week, it's just like with the baby formula. The Biden administration got the baby formula,
Yep.
and nobody is talking about how people can get baby formula now.
Right.
And that's what's going to happen with the gas.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen. The inflation is not going to come down fast enough for November. And we really have to say, that the most important thing is having a Democratic government in the future.
Yeah.
Because if you vote for the Republicans, after what we know, what this committee has been revealing to us is that there is no future. Trump was going to declare himself president for life.
Yeah.
And he's out there, threatening to run again.
Yep. He said he's already made his decision.
Yeah. And we all know what it is. And the only reason he doesn't say it out right now is because he's toying with the other Republicans.
Yeah. He's just playing a game.
He's playing a game. And the danger is still there. And all the people who are angry and feel they threw their vote away on Biden,
They need to suck it up. I don't fucking care. Don't give me that you threw your vote away on Biden.
thank you.
He got vaccines. He got, I mean, the mess he cleaned up, the record job growth, the economy is doing great. There's never been an
Aside from
economic
the
recovery.
inflation,
This,
aside
aside
from the
from inflation,
not
the
his
economy
fault.
is doing great.
Yeah.
This is like there
And
are
the
so
policies
many.
that he tried to enact cannot be enacted with this 50-50 Senate.
No, it cannot. And we it's not even really a 50-50 Senate.
No, it's a
It,
52
it, it's
46
it's
Senate.
a 52-48 a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And it not on everything, but a lot of the time. And it's, and look, he's gotten us back into in with NATO. He's gotten us back into good standing with as much as can happen with the rest of the world.
Yes.
He got Mexico to pay for the wall.
Hello. Only it's not a wall.
No, it's electronic surveillance.
Right. It is a sophisticated
It's an
method.
actual, it's something that might work.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
and he's got, so don't give me this crap about how, but he got a record number of judges confirmed his first year. I know that has slowed down. I know that's bad. He got Ketanji Brown Jackson confirmed to the Supreme
He
Court.
kept that promise.
He
That was
kept that promise. He's doing, there he might not be fighting as viciously as people would like him to, and I understand that.
yeah, we're all frustrated.
I understand that. I get it. I really do. But anybody who says they threw their vote away on Biden, fuck off. Give me that. I don't buy that for a second. What was your option once he won the primary? What was your option? Trump?
There you go.
That, don't you say suck it up?
Well,
How many black people have voted for racists?
Yeah.
Because they knew it was better than,
the
the
other
firing
reason.
squad. And the option, then the other option.
Yeah.
People who I have no patience for that. I have no patience for that kind of whining. I just don't.
And I would like to see the right-wing media throw a fit about all the erased Secret Service messages.
Oh, yes, let's talk about that.
All the people.
Let's talk about the order in which things happened.
Hillary Clinton had email on
Yeah,
a private
you couldn't vote for the email lady, right?
Right. But there's a lot of questions about the Secret Service.
Oh my God.
I'm laughing at all the people that are reminding us how Major Biden, the
Yes.
dog,
Major Biden was right.
was attacking Secret Service agents,
Biggest redeemed Major Biden.
Dogs,
good boy.
no.
Dogs know. Dogs know. I forgot about that. Yes. Yeah, good boy, Major Biden.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Because, they were asked for their texts, and suddenly their texts were gone. They were erased. On those days, the 5th
January 5th and 6th.
The 5th and the 6th.
Well, it was part of a device upgrade, and the messages were lost.
They just happened to have a device upgrade on the 6th.
And they just happened not to back up. Government agency happened to not back up. Oh, what's the matter? You bored?
He's incensed. He's incensed about this. Can't you tell by the look on his face?
Yeah.
He's worked up.
He's a good boy.
He is a good boy.
But
Yes, it's like where's the anger about that? Hillary Clinton's emails were about fucking peach cobbler recipes.
yeah,
The Secret Service deleted their emails from January 5th and 6th when Mike Pence was saying, "I'm not getting in the car with these guys because I'll be dead."
yeah.
Which, by the
Was
way, now they're talking about subpoenaing Mike Pence.
yes.
The January 6th committee is, and what a show that would be.
Yep.
Can you imagine? Not that he wouldn't testify obviously in person.
No.
It would be
No.
behind
They would
closed doors.
they would do it the way they did with Patsy Baloney. Who
Yeah,
Patsy Baloney to me will always be Patsy Baloney now.
Patsy Maloney. Where'd you hear that? Who calls him that?
Oh, that during the Cassidy Hutchinson testimony.
Did she misspeak or something or?
We didn't do that, but CNN's live captioning,
Oh,
every time they said
said Patsy Maloney.
Baloney, it came out Patsy Baloney. And
Oh
that's
boy,
all over Twitter, and
that's
he will
hilarious.
always be Patsy Baloney to me now.
Well, now he will for me too. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Holy moly.
But
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't believe they've talked to Ornato
No, they haven't. Not that
or
I know of.
Service,
The one who allegedly told the story.
right, and that Trump brought in for a political role.
Huh.
Uh,
Well, it
I'm
would be. I don't. Go ahead.
I'm reminded of the Peter Strzok texts, which
Yeah.
also um, had been deleted during some government upgrade, and somehow the government was able to get those texts back.
Yeah. Well, the weird thing, I'm not sure. On the Crooks and Liars emails, I was, getting educated by the techie people on the
Yes.
staff that know a lot more than I do about
Yeah.
them, their ability, how long the companies, the different, AT&T and Verizon, and how long they hold on to the metadata versus the actual content of these emails. And it's not very long. It's they'll hold on to the content is there for only a few days.
Hmm.
So but the metadata is there forever as far as I know. But or maybe not even, maybe not, I'll have to go back and look, but it's not like that content is there forever to be mined or to be found should so if we're talking now a year and 7 months ago, it's not guaranteed we'd be able to get the content of their data, but we would be able to find, for at least as far as the Secret Service goes, we know to whom the texts were going. Not that Trump was using his own phone anyway. He was using other people's phones,
Using
like,
burners and other people's
like a
phones.
mob boss, like a
Well,
fucking mob
well,
boss.
we're talking about the Secret Service, and I
Yeah.
don't believe the Secret Service was using burners.
No, but like if Trump was in touch with them,
Yeah.
is what I'm saying. Like they're, and the fact that Mike Pence literally thought he was, or at least made noises that he thought he was not safe getting in the car. It wasn't.
Mike Pence's chief of staff told the Secret Service
Yes,
that on January 6th,
there was a security threat
yes,
to Mike Pence. And Chuck Grassley even said that he let it slip that he was going to be the one counting the electoral
Mhm.
votes. Those are some texts I would like to see. I'd like to take a look
Absolutely.
at Grandpa Grassley's phone over there and see what kind of, because then he quickly backed down and said, if anything happens to Mike Pence, I would be the one to step in and take over. He
Right.
was ready to go. Chuck
Right.
Grassley was ready for Pence not to be there.
And Mo
And
Brooks
that's
went
fucked
to that
up.
rally with armor, with body armor.
Yeah. So, so there was apparently a meeting. The January 6th committee met
Overarmed.
last night. Say
Yeah.
it again.
Oh, the Secret Service knew that those people were armed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course they knew. And the really the chilling thing about the testimony from this past hearing was, to me, the most compelling thing that freaked me out was the testimony of the Twitter employee whose
Yes.
voice was masked, and
Yes.
the way he kept advocating for um, Trump to be taken off Twitter, and for a lot of these, the way he could see the organization of um, the gathering and the that there was a real systematic organization of plans of where to meet, when to, what to bring. There was going to be violence, and it was so clear to this Twitter safety dude.
Right.
Nobody would listen to him.
Right.
And that was just unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
And he said if anybody else tweeted the kinds of things that Donald Trump tweeted, they would have been permanently banned a long time before
Right.
January 8th or whatever it was that he was banned
I
on.
understand the dilemma. The President of the United States.
Right. I mean, yes, it's a
That's
dilemma,
hard.
but if the president of the United States is tweeting death threats,
Yeah.
and the I had a train of thought, and of course I lost it. But we were talking about the hearing, and the damn, what was it? Shoot, I can't remember. Oh, maybe the meeting that they had last
Yes,
night.
that's what you forgot.
There was a meeting
There
last
was
night of the January 6th committee with
the
Nancy
entire
Pelosi
committee went in to see her, and it was a long meeting.
around, and it happened after hours, which is
Yeah.
highly unusual. It happened around 7:15 or 7:30 at night last night. So that's when there were starting to be rumors that they were going to be that they were going to subpoena Pence and possibly Trump.
Right.
But I don't know,
We have
what
no idea what's
official.
going to happen until it happens.
Yeah,
They're very buttoned up. They're good.
they are good. They're great. They're just great.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what drives me crazy when I see people saying the Democrats have no fight. The Democrats aren't. Come on, you cannot look at this January 6th committee and tell me the Democrats don't have fight. I mean, just Jamie Raskin's closing had like my throat tight and had me tearing up. He is one of the most insightful and moving speakers, and intelligent and knowledgeable. Find me one person who knows the Constitution better than he does. You can't. I defy you to find me one person.
Well, he's certainly better than at least 6 of the Supreme Court justices.
So, I mean that Clarence Thomas is still sitting there is amazing to
But
me.
Ginny Thomas has not been subpoenaed.
I think she will be eventually,
I think they
because
have.
they just said that the next there was going to be a hearing yesterday. It got postponed to next Thursday, and it's
And
going
that
to
will
be
be
in
in
the
prime
evening.
time.
It's going to be
Right.
prime time, so something big is happening.
Right. And they also said that there will probably be more hearings in August, what everybody on
When
Twitter
everybody's
is calling the second season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't Congress is in recess in August?
Yeah.
So like it's very this is they
Well,
are
it's like the end of August,
doing.
so just before the recess ends, you know.
Yeah, but this committee is not going to stop work.
No, they're not going to stop work until Leader McCarthy makes them. And it's our job to make sure there
Bite
is
your
no
tongue.
Leader
Bite your
McCarthy.
tongue.
It is our
Bite your tongue. Don't
job.
say that.
It is our job, if we're in blue states, to write postcards
To purple states.
to purple states and to register Democrats in red
Sister district. Sister district. In fact, I'm going to navigate away so I can look up sister district.
sister district, postcards to voters, field team 6. There are lots and lots of really worthy organizations that are doing good work, and we need to help in every way that we can. In the meantime,
Yes.
looking at some of the races out there, I am loving John Fetterman's trolling of Dr. Oz.
He's a great troll. I hope he'll be
Troll.
decent in the Senate. I'm
Push
enjoying the
him
trolling.
into the Senate, you know? I mean, if I were living in Pennsylvania, again, he was not the person I would have voted for.
Yeah, but now you got to vote for him and you got to
But now
support
you
him
got to vote for him. You got to support him.
because Oz is not an option.
Oz is not an option. Um, the same thing with Ohio.
Yeah.
Tim Ryan is making a point of being that maverick. You know, I'm not going to be like all the other Democrats, but again,
Yeah, but in so doing, he's being kind of a dick about Biden.
he is.
And I
But
don't
he
like
can
that.
do
But
that
again,
right now while Biden's numbers are this low.
yeah. Yeah,
And I don't care what he does
as long as he wins.
as long as he wins.
Yeah,
And,
and from what I
fingers
understand,
crossed,
nobody's heard from
not
Vance.
another mansion, you know,
Yeah, yeah. I don't.
because
He wouldn't be another mansion.
I don't think so.
I
I
don't. I
think
don't.
he would be more like Sherrod Brown.
I think so. Well, I don't think anybody's like Sherrod Brown.
No, it's I know nobody is,
I think
but
he's one of a kind. But
Sherrod
I
Brown
do. I
was
just. I
pretty.
don't think he would be an obstructionist
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he would be an egotist, like anybody that thinks they could challenge Nancy Pelosi is
Oh yeah.
for the speakership has got a screw loose, but or male privilege, which is what he's got. But I don't think he would be.
I think he's a good
I
candidate
don't think
for
he's as
Ohio.
much of a dick as Manchin,
I think he's a good candidate for
yeah,
Ohio.
yeah, he is.
And
And
Warnock,
apparently Vance has been like persona non grata. He's nowhere to be found,
good.
which is fine. Stay that way.
Yeah. And Warnock needs to be reelected.
Yep.
Mark Kelly needs to be reelected.
Yep.
So we have to protect our people who are already there,
Yeah.
plus expand that majority.
Right. Well, we need Val
Demings,
Demings. We need
Val
Val
Demings
Demings,
versus
Sherry
Marco
Beasley.
Rubio. Yep,
Sherry Beasley.
yep.
Um, I'm trying to think who else. I think I have here I have a chart. Oh, Catherine Masto,
Yes, she's another one who needs to be protected.
Maggie Hassan, or
Yeah,
Hassan. How do you say her name?
Hassan, I think.
Hassan, yeah. So, and Mandela Barnes,
Yeah.
Wisconsin.
Can you imagine replacing Ron Johnson?
Oh
That
my God. Don't get me excited on a Friday evening. I mean, can you
Wisconsin
imagine?
used to be such a nice state. And then the Kochs ruined it.
The Kochs ruin everything.
They did.
They ruin higher education. They ruin Wisconsin. They ruin everything. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Ugh. Oy vey. And should we talk about Elon Musk and Twitter? Or should we talk about his dad?
It
Talk
is
about dysfunctional families.
it is no wonder that some of these monstrous people are the way they are when you look at the family dynamics.
I had no idea. Did you? That his dad was so fucked up?
Or as somebody on Twitter put it, holy Woody Allen.
Oh yeah, at least Woody Allen had the decency to marry his stepdaughter. What a fucked up world.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my God. Let's talk about good things.
Well, my governor, Gavin Newsom, is sure pulling out all the stops at
Talk about trolling.
trolling. Yes.
Yes. Ron DeSantis.
Yep. Yeah. Over the 4th of July holiday, he had an ad buy on Fox in Florida, basically trolling DeSantis.
He's so good.
Now, I don't know what good that does him in California, but he easily won that recall. He's not worried about his reelection. And I love that he's been getting on Truth Social and just
Yeah. Yeah, he's, look, if it doesn't take away from what he's accomplishing, and it sure doesn't seem like he is. California just passed the insulin,
yes, we did.
didn't they? That you're going to manufacture your own insulin within that state?
Yep. And make
Amazing.
it available, at much lower cost.
Amazing.
Yeah. Plus, our Medicaid is even open to undocumented residents.
Yeah.
And with the
Because even they get sick.
with the 94 or whatever $1 billion surplus,
Right.
all California taxpayers are getting like $1,000 rebate.
Oh my God, nice.
Yeah.
So are you coming out to DC with that?
We have to see what happens with the rest of the inflation.
Oh, are you going to pay for me to come out to California?
We'll have to see. We'll figure
Yes.
something out.
Okay.
I want to come back to DC. I had a blast when we
That
went
was great. That was great. But I had a blast in California too. So
Yeah. We should go to New York.
we can do that.
Yeah.
We can do that.
We'll have to talk to Carol Lee when she's back with
When
us.
she's back.
After she gets back from her vacation, then we can plan another trip.
Yes. Oh God. Oy.
Okay, so we're done talking politics. You have
Yeah, I
made me
think
feel
so.
much, much better.
Oh, good. I feel better too.
I am never going to do this again without makeup and lighting.
Oh,
Um,
come on. You look fine.
I don't. I'm just
Yes,
so
you do.
tired. The aftermath of the COVID.
Yeah.
I feel fine.
You're still tired?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
Of course, it could be what I've been trying to do this week is housework, and that's boring. So I get tired anyway from doing that. But
But you
yeah,
think it's a COVID after effect?
I think I still have COVID after effects.
So don't overdo it though, because
No,
then you don't want rebound COVID, if that's
nope.
a thing.
Well, the rebound would have happened from the Paxlovid by now if I was going
Okay.
to. So now I'm just trying not to get reinfected,
Yeah.
which, in a couple of weeks, it'll be back to mandatory masks here in Los Angeles.
I still
I
haven't,
never stopped
I've
wearing
never
them.
stopped. I've
Yeah,
never stopped wearing mine indoors.
I never stopped either. And I
And
got it anyway. So
BA5 has
it's
meningitis-like symptoms.
scary.
Meningitis.
Yep.
So, I mean, I don't see us, as long as we have a Republican governor, we're not going to go back to mandatory masks. But, you know, I'm at the point
There's
where
no political will anywhere.
I am thanking people that wear masks.
Yeah.
I am, you
Yeah.
know,
So, folks, stay safe, wear your masks,
yes.
and join us next week at momocrats.buzzsprout.com, our YouTube channel, or find us on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills, saying goodbye for the Momocrats. Bye.
Hi.
And there's Smokey saying goodbye.
Bye, Smokey.
Bye, Smokey.
Have a good weekend, Smokey.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the DemCast family of podcasts.